The House Chairperson.
There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Please be seated. The Secretary will read the order.
Debate on vote number 3, cooperative governance, including vote number 15, traditional affairs.
I now invite to the podium the Honourable Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Honourable Minister.
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members of the National Assembly, honorable cabinet ministers, deputy ministers, the chairperson of the House of Traditional and Khoisan leaders, the president of SALCAM, all the officials from COCTAM, the leadership of IMATU and SAMU, fellow South Africans. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of COCTAM, I join the mourners in the memorial service today to pay tribute to the former Deputy President, His Excellency D.D. Mabuza. May the family be consoled by recognizing the role he played in our country, and may his soul rest in peace. It is an honor to deliver the 2025-26 budget votes 3 and 15 of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs before this House. We meet at a time of grief, as just 4 weeks ago, KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape, and at most Eastern Cape face catastrophic flooding, with Nelson Mandela Bay, Chris Hani, and OR Tambo district suffered the greatest devastation. 107 lives were lost, thousands were displaced, and critical infrastructure was destroyed. We know that many families are still yet to lay to rest their beloved ones. On behalf of the ministry again, we extend our deepest condolences. May the souls of the departed rest in peace. After the classification of the national disaster on 5 June 2025, municipalities, provincial, and national departments embarked on the process of adjusting their budget allocations to address the disaster that occurred. I'm partially pleased, Honorable Speaker, that on Monday, the 7th of July 2025, we communicated the release of 1.25 billion to Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Free State, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and Northwest to address the February 2025 disasters. Eastern Cape will receive 504 million rands of the 1.2 billion rands. In relation to June 2025 disasters, we have received the assessments from all provinces at an estimated cost of 6.3 billion. Our technical team under MISA are on the ground doing verification to initiate recovery. On the 5th of August 2025, which will be 60 days of the classification of the disaster, we will announce the allocation to intervene on June disasters to build back better. As we go forward, our disaster response and intervention will be less than 60 days to release available funds. COGTAM is leading the G20 Disaster Risk Reduction Working Group together with the G20 member states and the global experts. We are advancing priority themes such as nature-based disaster risk reduction, resilient infrastructure and recovery, early warning systems, inclusive and alternative funding. The budget allocation of this that we are presenting today will be investing in functionality and resilience. The 2025-26 MTF allocates 410.9 billion to vote 3, cooperative governance, and 195.5 million to vote 15, traditional affairs. With vote 3, allocation funds key programs over the MTF period. 57 billion for the municipal infrastructure grant to fast-track basic services. 4.1 billion for the integrated urban development grant to support spatial transformation in targeted cities. 474.6 million rand for the municipal systems improvement grant to strengthen governance systems. 1.163 billion to support the municipal infrastructure support agent and its deployment of technical capacity. Funding of disaster management contingency reserves, the district development model, and partnership frameworks with SALCA. With vote 15, the budget enables the enforcement of the Customary Initiation Act, the implementation of the Traditional and Khoisan Leadership Act, resources for tools of trade for the department and the National House of Traditional and Khoisan Leaders, recognition processes, and cultural documentation projects. This is a budget that anchors stability, resilience, and deepening of democracy across spheres of government. When it comes to the white paper review, reimagining local government for a new era, on 19 May 2025, we officially launched the review of the 1998 white paper on local government. This review is not a ceremonial exercise, it is a strategic imperative. The current model, while visionary in its time, has not kept pace with the realities of urbanization and spatial inequality, climate change and infrastructure fragility, youth unemployment and digital transformation, revenue shortfalls, and governance instability. The review process, now extended to 31 July 2025, to allow broader participation, is guided by the principle that every municipality must work, not just in theory, but in practice. Key objectives of the review include restoring public trust, revisiting the funding model, professionalizing local government, empowering traditional leaders and rural communities, embedding smart governance tools, and strengthening intergovernmental coordination. The white paper on local government review is an opportunity to rewrite the rule book, to build a local government system that is capable, ethical, inclusive, and future fit. On interventions in distressed municipalities, the department continues to implement targeted support for municipalities struggling with institutional dysfunction, poor audit outcomes, and critical infrastructure backlogs. Honorable members, we are acting decisively in the face of systemic governance failures, persistent non-compliance with statutory obligations, rampant financial misconduct, and service delivery paralysis. Together with the National Treasury, when it be, we are going to use extraordinary means to compel municipalities who adopted 2025-26 unfunded budgets to review those budgets and adopt funded budgets. We have concurred with the Treasury to compel the payments for water boards and ESCOM, and also for the payment by municipalities to pension and medical aid contributions to the third parties. Notably, the same principle will have to apply to all government departments who own municipalities. They must too be compelled to pay what is due to municipalities. To intensify our support for audit action plan, COCTA Minister with AG have agreed on a 10-by-10 team comprising the 9 members from the AG's provincial offices plus 1 from the AG's office, together with 9 MECs plus the Minister of COCTA, to work together to address and resolve root causes of negative audit outcomes. We are bringing on board South African Institute of Government Auditors, which receives funding from CETA, to provide direct oversight and intervention support to high-risk municipalities, especially those who consistently do not submit their AFS, thereby ensuring that accountability mechanisms take root and financial credibility is restored. To ensure public resources translate into visible service delivery improvements, we are deploying strategic, differentiated support to a cohort of 30 priority municipalities facing capacity and financial constraints. As part of this approach, the MIG has been partially reprioritized and shifted to Schedule 6B of the Division of Revenue Act, enabling targeted national interventions by the department and its implementing agent. In support of this shift, the MISA has been formally designated as the national implementing agent for qualifying MIG projects. MISA will fast-track infrastructure delivery by providing technical expertise and procurement support, capacity building for municipal officials, exploration of alternative infrastructure, financial models, training in project preparation, management, and contract oversight. These interventions will be accompanied by value for money audits to ensure accountability and effectiveness. On 3 April 2025, we officially launched the ward delimitation process in Mbombela, a critical milestone in preparing for the 2026 local government elections. This process is well underway, and we are looking forward to the eventual delivery of information to IEC so that they start preparing for elections next year. Our legislative program focuses on rebuilding state integrity, electoral stability, and service delivery readiness through the following bills: Independent Municipal Demarcation Authority Bill, Local Government General Laws Amendment Bill, Municipal Structures Amendment Bill, Intergovernmental Monitoring Support and Interventions. Additionally, we are going to use these instruments to improve the best performance of our municipalities, finalizing a professionalization framework for senior managers in local government, implementing prototype staff establishment, reviewing remuneration and performance initiative, and strengthening the alignment with the district development model for coordinated delivery. On customary initiation, since December 2024 to June 2025, we dedicated our time and government resources meeting kings, traditional leaders, MECs, and all stakeholders. Honorable Chair, I am sad and angry. This morning, 19 boys who 2 weeks ago left homes healthy to initiation are recorded dead. This cannot be allowed to go further. This must not continue. A line needs to be drawn. That is either we protect the right to life or we carry on with a culture that does not protect the right to life. Yes, 7 cases have been opened. 67 people have been arrested. We will follow up on these cases until prosecution level. The only deep pain is that the 19 innocent souls whose right to life have been violated will not be recovered. As a result, on Sunday, 13 July, I'm convening an urgent meeting of all the premiers and MECs and everybody involved in the initiation so that we reflect on this unfortunate state of affairs. Just one thing in my mind that is clear is that a line must be drawn.
Honorable Minister, your time is now expired.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. The next speaker is the Honorable Mkhize.
House Chairperson, the Honorable, the Minister, Deputy Ministers, and Honorable Members and the Portfolio Committee and the leaders of the House of Traditional Leaders. May I also join the colleagues, the ministers and other colleagues in conveying condolences to the family of our late, the Honorable Deputy President Mabuza. May his soul rest in peace. Honorable members, exactly 1 year ago, when I addressed this House on COCTA budget vote debate, I said, as parliamentarians working on COCTA Portfolio Committee, our role is to ensure that local government is a key catalyst for social and economic development, remains the primary point of contact for citizens to receive services as the main interface between the government and the public. I further stated that the NC envisions developmental local government system that promotes reconstruction and development of our nation. The work we have done so far in the 7th administration has not deviated from this commitment. This budget vote debate is proof that our commitment to work hand in hand to realize the vision of efficient and effective local government goes beyond party political lines. There is consensus that we need to make local government work. In the previous weeks, we have witnessed, unfortunately, disturbing occurrences within the space of local government. A number of officials whose work is pivotal in the reshaping of local government have perished in the hands of criminals. Eguruleni Audit Chief Mpho Mafole, may his soul rest in peace, was killed just a few months in the job. As COCTA, we deem his death as a serious setback in our fight against corruption and to our vision of fixing dysfunctionality in local government. Many others have perished in the local government space, which places us on a duty to rethink the entire ecosystem of governance in the local government. We therefore call for protection of those in the front line in the fight against corruption, be they whistleblower, investigator, or the honest public servant who will refuse to be corrupted. Something drastic has to be done to encourage those who are committed to the fight to solve their own. Another crisis has become our nightmare are the frequent and persistent climate changes, disasters, in the common one in South Africa being floods. The recent deaths of the people in the Eastern Cape because of heavy rains is causing floods is another tragedy which we have to confront. In the Portfolio Committee meeting, it has been made clear that our understanding and response to disasters has not yet been to the standard required, particularly how to deal with the aftermath. Climate disasters in general lead to displacement and homelessness, disrupt livelihoods of people, and therefore they also lead to rural-urban migration challenges and challenges in social cohesion and strain infrastructure as a result of rapid unplanned migration. We need to ensure that we develop early warning systems to mitigate against disasters, particularly utilizing and enforcing bylaws preventing settlement in floodplains. We must deal decisively with the effects of apartheid spatial planning by making land available to the people, especially in the city centers and urban areas, as a way to mitigate impact of disasters. 30 years on, this apartheid spatial injustice has still not been addressed. The speed and processes of releasing disaster funds must be improved, and this must be done in an equitable way that does not undermine agency and need. For instance, the Portfolio Committee, as a committee, we have raised concern about the allocation of 940 million rand, a grant to the Western Cape, while 709 was shared amongst the 3 provinces. Let alone that there are still communities that remain left out from the assistance after they were affected many years ago. I make the emphasis mainly because of the need for a coordinated and well-planned climate change response. The ANC, in its vision of achieving spatial justice through spatial integration, has passed the Expropriation Act as a tool to achieve this goal. Why are municipalities not using this act to improve the lives of our people? Municipalities must make use of the act to deracialize cities they govern. Like in the Western Cape example, for instance, land has been made available far outside the urban centers, making it difficult for working people to commute to work because it's more expensive and it takes longer. This is something that needs to be addressed, utilizing the Municipal and Demarcation Board, which can assist in this regard. The state and functionality of the functionality and governance of municipalities is still a huge challenge. The picture painted by the Auditor General is a terrible indictment to the executive as well as parliament and all spheres of government. The degree of dysfunctionality of municipalities impacts negatively on economic development, especially small businesses, employment creation, as well as sustainability, and therefore the ability to do service delivery. After all, economic development is an outcome of functional local government. So local government must be fixed, full stop. The Portfolio Committee will now undertake a more aggressive approach of oversight role involving joint accountability at provincial and local government level, emphasizing on consequence management and reversing the negative outcomes, working with SCOPA and NCOP. The ANC will envisage that strengthening developmental local government will enable social and economic transformation to eliminate the legacies of apartheid by eradicating poverty, inequality, unemployment, and ensuring local economic development and improve municipal services, service delivery, which is crucial for South Africa to expand economic participation. This is in line with the National Development Plan. And the committee has expressed the need for the department to demonstrate more successes on the implementation of the district development model beyond the pilot sites. I see that there's a lot of information that's been shared outside by the departments here. The 410 billion rand has been allocated for COCTA over the MTEF, almost 97% earmarked for intergovernmental transfers and support to entities. It will be for the benefit of the local government if the spending of this budget is streamlined with a broader vision of government of growing economy and creating jobs. It's a matter of concern that the budget of the Community Works project has been reduced. And of course, we urge the department to address all the various issues that plague this program, such as non-payment of implementing agents, resolving court issues, widespread disgruntlement that's leading to unionization of CWP workers, and there should also be consultation with the Department of Labor. The advent of coalition has also created instability and frequent changes in municipal leadership, such as Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, Johannesburg, legislation needs to be rapidly processed to stabilize the management of hung municipalities and ensure predictability in the local government space. The committee will later this year be undertaking a study tour in Denmark just to study how this can be achieved. Our approach to coalitions must be matured and not be driven by party politics of individual whims and egos. We urge the department to fast-track this legislation as we need local government participants to understand that they are working for the people and nothing else. The ANC is deeply committed to the strengthening and supporting of the institution of the institution of traditional leadership and addressing the Khoisan matters. And we do urge the minister to fast-track the creation of the representative council of the Khoi and the San community and the recognition of their leaders. We welcome the formation of the Forum of the Majesties in representing the kings. We'll be soon seeking audience with this forum to meet the kings. We also wish the department to act swiftly to deal with the disputes in kingship, and in particular, we're concerned about the issue of Amampondo royalty, where there's a matter of dispute. The committee also remains very, very concerned with the deaths which occurred during the customary union initiative. And here we really are saying no single death should be tolerated. And we would like to urge the minister and all the departments who work together, it's unacceptable. Traditional structures need to be empowered to play a role in the development and enhancement of service delivery and the promotion of rural development in cooperation with the three spheres of government. It is our view that local economic development and spatial justice, viable municipalities are an outcome of an active collaboration with traditional leadership authorities. Therefore, we want to share this important responsibility of uplifting our people, boosting local investment, and empower SMMEs through maximum functionality of local government. The ANC supports the budget vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is Honourable Mtetwa.
Greetings, Chair, and greetings to the Minister, Deputy Minister, and fellow officials and honorable members and House of Traditional Leaders. I will then do a reverse engineering of my speech. I'll start from the end and probably dictate it by heart, though the speech is here. As we approach the national dialogue next month, two prominent gentlemen appear in the Contessa process, Mr. Ramaphosa and Rolf Meyer. These gentlemen were chairing the Constitutional Assembly, and they made an omission in the Constitution as they were structuring Chapter 7 and Chapter 12 of the Constitution. Chapter 12 says that the role of traditional leaders, and then it says recognition of traditional leaders. There's an error there. How can a new democratic dispensation recognize people that they found already here? So that's an error. So it's the other way around. Number two, Chapter 7 of local government is said to be that it shall be autonomous in their function. Now, there is a contestation of jurisdiction. The jurisdiction where local government is the jurisdiction of Amakosi. That is derived from the Forced Removal Act, which actually forcibly removed Amakosi from the towns and cities of South Africa to make way for the institution of local government. And therefore, it is against that background that in '98, when the local government white paper was actually established, then it defined Amakosi outside the institutional and legislative framework of local government. As a result, Amakosi have no say in the municipalities, yet they are sharing the jurisdiction in the same area. And then furthermore, the last meeting of the KwaZulu-Natal legislature.
Honourable Mtetwa, will just take a seat, please. Honourable Deputy Minister, why do you want to be recognized?
Honourable Chair, I just wanted to ask the member, why does he not ask Namalala, why did he endorse the Constitution?
No. Honourable Deputy Minister.
Namalala endorsed the
Order,
Constitution.
honourable members.
And it made him.
Order, honourable members. Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members on my left, please calm down. Just calm down. Honorable Deputy Minister, that's not a point of order. I suggest you find time to discuss with the honorable member what you want to say to him. Please continue, honorable member.
The last meeting of KwaZulu-Natal legislature, just before the 10 of 1994, it actually enacted Ingonyama Trust, which actually identified 2.8 million hectares of land, which is constituted by Amakosi, who are 300 under a Zulu king. Now, that land should have been carried forward into the democratic dispensation, wherein during the constitutional formation process, it should have been known that we are now going to have a paradox in the law whereby Amakosi, who are landlord of so much hectares of land, should be now intertwined with the local sphere of government in terms of decision making. As a result, Amakosi were defined outside that process. Going forward into 2002, in 2002, our former president actually commissioned the commission on Klapo to discover who are the real kings. Now, the president himself is a native, so it should be natural as to who are the kings. But anyway, he commissioned that, and the result came, and they demonstrated that these are the kings that are discovered by the Klapo Commission. That report is lying, gathering dust, not being implemented. In the same year of 2002, we enacted Mineral Resources and Petroleum Development Act of 2002, amended in 2004, wherein we allowed private companies to come and explore for mining in the areas of Amakosi, which the banks have deemed those land as unbankable, which means they cannot be capitalized. Yet there are minerals underground in a land that has been excluded in the mainstream economy. Then it means that municipalities shouldn't be suffering in terms of funding, because in each and every local sphere, you find minerals that could be used to actually fund them. But that was decided that it must be given to private hands. As a result, that money does not go back into the fiscals, but it goes into individual hands. Furthermore, and we went into the credit crunch of 2008, which dampened the economy across the globe. And then obviously COVID-19, which actually put into a standstill the economies of the world. Amakosi, since they were excluded from any platforms of decision-making, they suffered for 30 years and they are not part of any decision-making, yet that is the governing institution. So it's the other way around. What municipalities should be, they should be an administrative arm of Amakosi, not the other way around where Amakosi is just an advisory body in South Africa. Then going forward to trace this betrayal of Amakosi, I can go into 1824 when Lieutenant Gardner came to King Shaka's palace and he asked them this question. He said, will it not happen that one day that the British will oppress my people? They said, no. 197 years later, we are oppressed by the British. Went on into 1828, the governor of the Cape, right here where we are, he actually asked this lieutenant, did you make sure that King Shaka is dead? They said, yes. Did you make sure that he's not dead through your hands? They said, yes. We made sure that his own brothers are the ones that killed him. As a result, it was against that background that the British came to establish the Durban port in KwaZulu-Natal. Going on to 1835. In 1835, in the British Parliament, we found that Lord Macaulay...
Honorable Mtetwa, will you just take your seat, please? Why do you want to be recognized, honorable member? Order, honorable members, I want to listen to the honorable member. Can somebody just assist the honorable member?
There we go, Honorable Chair. Thank you. I've been assisted. I would like to find out if the honorable member is prepared to take a question.
Honorable member, are you prepared to take a question?
After my speech, yes.
Okay,
Honorable
I
member
will
is
come
not
back
prepared.
after.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please continue, honorable Mtetwa.
Then in 1835, Lord Macaulay said that I've never seen such people who are living in peace and harmony and are very rich. But if we want to colonize them, let's take and change their spirituality and their culture. And exactly that's what British staged by colonizing us as far as that period. And then we exactly become what they enacted in the British Parliament. Then in 1852, Joubert and King Squatty, they made a covenant that said a black man is a landlord and a white man is a migrant, and a white man must wait 100 years before they can buy land in South Africa. It turns out that in 60 years, that was 1913, they actually took the land of the kings, the Verkrampte and the Verlichte Party, they led Gepakle oor die grond, and they made sure that they take our land. That was 1913. And then going on in 1846, Charles Saunders established the Land Delimitation Commission, where he dissected the land of Amakosi to ensure that our
Order,
land
honorable
is
members.
taken.
Order.
And
Order, honorable members. Continue. No, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. You must raise a point of order if you want. You can't sit and shout from where you're sitting. Raise a point of order and I'll make a ruling. Please continue, honorable member.
Charles Saunders, he established the Land Delimitation Commission to dissect the land of the kings in order to settle white people. And as a result, today, we are finding ourselves outside the towns and cities of South Africa. Going on into 1885, they established the London Convention and the Pretoria Convention to establish a law that said a black king shall be ruled under a white guardianship, which means a king is going to be a minor.
Honorable
to a
Tetwa, there's a point of order. Yes, honorable member.
No,
No, I didn't recognize you. I recognize the member next to you.
Thank you, Chair. I think the speaker is out of order because he's irrelevant. Yeah, he's speaking about the history that is not interested. Can he talk about the budget?
So, honorable member. Order, honorable members, calm down.
Talk about the budget, please.
Order, I've listened to what you said. The honorable member, that's not a point of order. The member is this budget deals with cooperative governance and traditional affairs. And is dealing with a certain context that he wants to articulate. I cannot rule him out of order. If he finds it order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Order, honorable members. Honorable Douglas.
Honourable member, could you ask our colleagues in the other side of the house to please refrain from making frivolous remarks and points of order? We're now getting tired of it.
Okay, thank you, honorable member. Please continue, honorable Tetwa.
The London Convention established that kings, black kings, shall be ruled under white guardianship, which means the following, that since 1885 until 2025, Amakosi are reduced into minors in this country because of that convention. And then going forward to 1899 until 19...
Honorable member, unfortunately, won't have enough time from 1899 to now. Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Order. Please take your seats, honorable members. The next speaker, order. The next speaker is the Honorable Mabena. Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Honorable Mabena, you may continue.
Sorry. Ngiyathokoza Sihlalo. The Traditional Affairs Department is a key strategic government agency, even while it does not receive the attention it requires. Unfortunately, as a sub-department, this does not allow the department to reach its full potential, as demonstrated by the less than 200 million rands allocated to it. There are important issues of national importance in the sector that the Traditional Affairs Directorate should be seized with, yet they are relegated to the purview of provinces and executed at the discretion of provincial governments. often without any clear guidelines and processes. Matters in traditional affairs cannot be dealt with via gentlemen's agreements. It is not sustainable and must be corrected. Let me provide a practical example to demonstrate this point. Often, royal houses are treated unequally by the state, which must change. The AmaZulu royal household has an entire directorate in the Premier's office in the KZN provincial government dedicated to the upkeep of the AmaZulu royal kingdom. And in this past financial year, a respectable operational budget of 86 million rand was allocated to it. However, in comparison to other royal kingdoms in other provinces, which are allocated at times far less for operational purposes for the year, all traditional houses should be treated fairly, which cannot happen without establishing set practices for all. Creating inequality among traditional houses ultimately undermines their mandate, which is to work collaboratively with the state. Honorable House Chairperson, we welcome and commend the Minister Ubulawayo for inviting comments in the formulation of the regulations that will govern the Customer Initiation Act. We often say that government must be by the people and for the people. Therefore, government has a responsibility to listen to the people they govern, especially when they express grave concerns that have the potential to affect and impact negatively their sacred cultural practices. Education is paramount, but in a democracy as diverse as ours, constant communication and consultation is required in ensuring that there is synergy. The idea that a customer initiation will coincide with school holidays, although it might be a noble idea, however, it must be said that in practice, this is in conflict with the core practices that govern Ingoma. The attempt to limit Ingoma to 3 weeks is ill-considered, unworkable, and quite frankly, impossible to implement. We have nations in South Africa that need a minimum of 8 weeks to complete this sacred practice of customer initiation. Honorable House Chairperson, Ingoma ngangemtshade, Ingoma ngekosini, amandla athathelwa amakhosi afaka ku-PICC. Thina sazi ukuthi ingoma ngeyengwenyama, kodwana ingoma kufanele ingwenyama iba imvumo ku-PICC ukukhupha ingoma. Lokhu kululaza amasiko begodu kululaza nobukhosi. Ayihlali kuhle ngombana iba ngathi you are undermining and disrespecting the authority yamakhosi nakuza endweni zengoma. Siyabawa Deputy Minister ke ilungiswe lento ngombana yimbi begodu iyalumela ikhulumeki. Only the king or a queen must issue certificates for ingoma and not the PIC and not the PICC. This practice is wrong and we frown upon it. The PICC has a role to play, but that of only oversight and nothing else. The Democratic Alliance is calling for the establishment of specialized units in the SAPS to deal with illegal initiation schools. Honorable House Chairperson, in closing, there are many great things that Ubulawayo and Umtwana Uliachiga have done. We must be fair and congratulate them when they do good. One such good deed is the establishment of the King's Forum and the Queen's Forum. We welcome this development in Ndabezitha. We hope and pray that these structures, although they are not statutory bodies, they can be formalized and be allocated the necessary supporting or the necessary support, including a budget and operational support staff for them to be effective. Ngiyathokoza, we support the budget. Bayethe Ngunyama.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is the Honourable Mkalipi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, House Chair. Greetings to the President and Commander-in-Chief of Economic Freedom Fighters, Commissars, Fighters, Grand Forces, and people of South Africa. Can you listen? This year, the EFF celebrates its 12th anniversary. We also invite everyone to come and celebrate this important day with us here at Kwalanga in Cape Town. As the EFF chair, we stand in solidarity with the people of South Africa who are failed by dysfunctional municipalities. Municipalities that cannot provide clean drinkable water, proper sanitation, and electricity. Political instability, Chair, at the municipal level has severely impacted on governance and have directly affected the citizens of this country. Public trust in local government has already eroded dramatically, with 87% of South Africans expressing distrust in municipal leadership, according to the Ipsos survey. These failures underscore the urgent need for a clear direction and a clear strategy to get out of this mess, Minister. However, Chair, allow us as EFF to commend and congratulate the EFF MMC in Tshwane, Fighter Obakeng, who is leading a cleaning campaign to make sure the city of Tshwane is clean in the capital city of Tshwane. We are breathing a fresh air because of our MMC. We also recognize the EFF MMC of Public Safety in Johannesburg, Udokotela Mgcini Chwaku, who was voted the best MMC, commended even by opposition parties for being a hardworking servant of the people, fighting crime and restoring order in the city of Johannesburg. We applaud EFF MMC of Finance Nelson Mandela, Khaya Ncisha, who is at the forefront of cleaning up the city finances, increasing revenue collection and ensuring financial stability. We further acknowledge all other EFF MMCs in other municipalities that are serving our people with dignity, including our spokesperson Usomlomo Ukomisa Thembi Msani, who is ensuring that residents of Ekurhuleni get clean water. House Chair, the EFF reject this proposed budget for the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, and we do so for the following reasons. Just listen.
Order, honorable members.
We reject this proposed budget, Chair, for the following reasons. Let us start with Umtata, where people lost their lives and livelihoods. There is more to the story than just natural disaster, Minister. It reveals a complete failure of local government and to maintain infrastructure and a shocking lack of accountability. And there's no consequences after that. As the EFF, we demand a full investigation into the dam release that turned to a manageable flood into a complete disaster, affecting more than 4,000 households and claiming 100 lives, including that of a 12-month-old baby. It cannot be a business as usual. The government's response to the Eastern Cape disaster was a disaster itself. The government response to the Eastern Cape was a disaster itself and shameful. We were told that 122 temporary residential units has been provided out of 4,000 affected households on 122. But guess what? When we visited the site, not a single TRU was there. We demand this to be investigated as well, Chair, because we were told in a meeting, formal meeting of Parliament, but when we went there, foot soldiers of EFF, nothing to that sort. People are looting at a time when our communities are most disparate. In the Free State, Chair, all 23 municipalities have reportedly collapsed, as recently confirmed by the Auditor General. In response, the Minister of Finance has issued a letter to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs stating that funding will be withheld from 39 municipalities that have failed to comply with the legal requirements. Guess what? The majority of these municipalities are in the Free State. One clear example is Ngwathe municipality, which the court has ordered to dissolve. Ngwathe is all allocated where? In Free State. This is just one instance that highlights the broader crisis of a collapsing local governance system, Minister. eThekwini, the municipality wasted millions of rands in taxpayers' money appealing a court judgment. They knew they would lose, yet no one has been held accountable. These are not isolated incidents, Minister. The dysfunctional municipality is a national crisis. It needs a direction from national. House Chairperson, this dysfunction is a result of a poor design of local government over past 30 years, particularly the flawed assumptions that underpin its funding model. We have constantly said since we arrived here in 2014 as EFF, that municipalities are underfunded. They cannot collect revenue in communities where people are excluded from economic activity. This dysfunction in turn breeds corruption and maladministration. The white paper on local government, proudly cited by the minister, as to which we contributed through attendance and submissions, offer no real solutions. It scared the root causes and merely treats the symptoms. In closing, House Chairperson, here are the practical steps that we can take while the minister finalizes his policy review. Number one, all municipalities must build internal capacity for plumbing, for grass cutting, for security servicing, for cleaning services, and stop outsourcing these through tenders. Two, This must be the last division of revenue bill, Minister, adopted without a substantive increase in local government share. A process must begin now. The Portfolio Committee of Cocta, Kabazela, and Scopa must push the allocation from 9% to be between 14% and 20% in the next financial year. Number 3, municipalities with funded vacancies must be given 3 months from now to fill them or face consequences. Kuse Hollywood la.
Honourable
Acting
Member,
CFO.
your time has
So-
now expired.
This-
Thank you.
We need these vacancies to be filled in order to have a local government that is working for the people. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The next speaker is the Honourable Adebe. All the honourable members.
Honorable House Chairperson, Honorable the Minister, Deputy Ministers, colleagues, perhaps as a point of departure, the IFP would like to commend you, Honorable Minister, for your responsive leadership in relation to the Eastern Cape floods. Your actions displayed decisiveness and compassion at a crucial time. This was displayed through swift classification of the floods as a national disaster and the rapid deployment of MISA technical teams to restore infrastructure. These actions reflected an ethical approach to governance in disaster recovery, and most importantly, practical support was provided. The effects of climate change have led to increased flooding both in South Africa and globally. The IFP takes comfort in your role as chair of the G20 Disaster Risk Reduction Working Group, as your practical experience will be valuable in shaping global resilience policy. Honorable House Chairperson, Cocta's mandate is immense. Strengthening municipalities to manage their own affairs remains a daunting task. We must remember that a citizen's first and closest interaction with government is at the municipal level. Their experience with municipalities shapes their overall perception of the state. Functional municipalities are therefore critical to how people experience South Africa. Yet this is only one aspect of the department's broad responsibilities. Thus, the IFP notes with concern that a critical department tasked with supporting and capacitating municipalities to improve basic service delivery has not been allocated sufficient resources to fulfill its mandate. Given the department's ability to accurately diagnose the challenges facing municipalities, what remains lacking is the necessary funding. Chronic underfunding undermines the department's strategic priorities in the medium-term development plan, particularly the implementation of improved revenue strategies across municipalities. As a result, municipalities remain dependent on an already severely constrained fiscus, perpetuating a cycle of incapacity and repeated need for intervention. The IFP welcomes the plan to appoint competent senior managers in municipalities. We commend the department for recognizing that rebuilding dysfunctional municipalities require capable public servants who can restore ethical governance and financial discipline. Furthermore, the IFP calls for the full implementation of the professionalization framework and the strengthening of municipal disciplinary boards in line with the Municipal Finance Management Act. Honorable Minister, the IFP supports the review of the white paper on local government. It is both timely and commendable. It reflects a principled commitment to strengthening the basics of our democracy and ensuring that local government remains responsiveness, accountable, and truly developmental in character. The IFP welcomes the department's continued efforts to recognize and support traditional leaders. Honorable Minister, through your engagements across the country, traditional leaders have consistently expressed that for the first time in a long while, they feel seen and heard compared to the period 2009 and 2017. This sentiment has also been echoed by the Queens through the establishment of the Queen's Council, the Royal Palace infrastructure project is a historic intervention and a clear reminder that traditional leaders are not only custodians of culture, but also vital partners in our nation's development. Honorable Chairperson, the IFP is in full support of both Budget Vote 3, Cooperative Governance, and Budget Vote 15, Traditional Affairs. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The next speaker is the Honorable Van Wyk.
Cheers. Honorable House Chairperson, Honorable Minister, Honorable DMs, Honorable members, fellow South Africans. Honorable Montetwa, you came here and you have opened up something that I actually didn't want to do. My speech is there on my table. But you came here and you spoke about the history. But the one mistake that you have done in your excellent speech, you have excluded the Koyan San, as if we don't exist. As if we don't exist. You know, in 1488, when Bartolomeus Diaz came here, he met the Koyan San. He didn't meet anybody else. In 1510, when the de Almeida of the Portuguese was defeated here in South River, it was the Koyan San. You are so in love since 1994 in this parliament to speak about 6 April 1652 when Jan van Riebeeck came here, because it includes all of you. Because you only came here in the 1500s and some of you after 1652. The Koyan San, according to me, Chief, the Koyan San was here since the 1400s and before that. So that is why they came for our language, they came for our traditions, and in 1950 they came for our identity with the Race Classification Act, which made us coloureds. We are not coloureds. We are descendants of the Koyan San. Even the United Nations in 2004, when Rudolf Staffenhagen came here, the special rapporteur of the UN, came with that findings to say that the so-called coloured people are the descendants of the Koyan San. We are the true owners of the land. And sometimes these ones on my left-hand side are telling that other ones there, you are land thieves. Do you also want to come and steal the land from them?
Honorable Van
He is on
Wyk, Honorable Van Wyk, will you just take your seat, please? Why do you want to be recognized, Honorable Member?
On a point of order, Chair, I think the language used is unparliamentary. There's no such as this once.
Honorable Member, thank you. Honorable Van Wyk, will you just address the chairperson instead of pointing to members of parliament in the house? You may continue.
Okay, Chairperson, hulle is maar net ongewoon dat die issue van Khoisan en colours word gepraat hier. It's unusual. Chair, fact of the matter is, Honorable Mtetwa came here.
Honorable Douglas, you are now interrupting the member with his speech.
And is grounding my.
Please continue, Honorable Van Wyk.
Chair, the other thing is, there is no history in this country without the Koyan San. This is our land. Julle kan maar maak wat julle wil, julle kan maar mekaar skel, and Chairperson, lastly, I also, like Honorable Khalipi, I also want to come and celebrate the acting mayor of the city of Johannesburg, Kenny Konene. For a full week, the acting mayor, he made sure that the work was done in that COJ. We want to salute him, abahambe to all foreigners and the DA.
Honorable member,
The most
your time
voters
is
that
now
we still
expired.
have is the
Please take your
colored
seat.
people.
Thank you.
Chala Aslech. Salute. Imagine with that crown.
Yeah. The next speaker is the Honorable Wessels. Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Honorable members, will you take your seats? Honorable members of the PA. Honorable member, take your seat. Please continue, Honorable Wessels.
Thank you, Honourable House Chairperson. House Chair, it's obvious and should be obvious that local government is the most important sphere of government as it relates to direct and tangible basic service delivery. It's also obvious, and there's no doubt, that local government is the biggest failure, and that all municipalities fail to actually address the basic service delivery needs of our people out there. Municipalities do not comply to the most basic legislation in terms of environmental affairs, in terms of financial management, and so the list can continue. But, Chairperson, where does the solution lie? Does the solution lie in funds? And it's very easy to say that there's more funds needed to local government, to municipalities, to address the shortcomings and to do more. But it won't solve the problem, and we've seen that. Will it solve the problem to appropriate more funds and spend more funds on support programs and interventions by this department that we are debating here today? And the empirical evidence is that it does not solve the problem. We've had so many intervention or support programs like Back to Basics and all kinds of interventions from National Treasury, from National COCTA, provincial COCTA departments, provincial treasuries, SAUGA, and so forth, and it does not translate to actually improving the governance of our municipalities. And it does not translate to better service delivery. Will it solve the problem to take away funding? And that is what is currently, and the Honorable Kalipi referred to it. It's going to happen in 39 municipalities. A letter addressed to the Minister by Treasury, by the Minister of Finance, gave municipalities, 39 municipalities, a deadline of 7 days. Those 7 days expired today, or is expiring today, to settle their full outstanding debt to water boards. We're talking about a municipality like Machubeng that's owing more than 8 billion rand to its water board. There's no way that Machubeng has paid that 8 billion rand. They won't. So they won't get their equitable share. And what will that solve? Because equitable share finances the basic services to indigent people. It should. It actually finances a lot of salaries. But theoretically, that money is needed to keep our municipalities to operate. Taking it away will obviously just won't improve service delivery. It will contribute to the decay. Where does the solution lie? And Honourable Chairperson, the Minister referred to extraordinary means that is necessary. And I want to agree with him. We will have to think outside of the box and need further intervention. 139 interventions does not work. Even dissolution or dissolving municipal councils does not translate into better service delivery. And there's examples of recent councils that were dissolved. We need better interventions because it's councils, councillors, politicians, but also officials that does not take their task and their duties seriously. We need to also use the review on the white paper on local government to think about the size of municipalities because it has become unmanageable. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The next speaker is the Honorable Laklape.
Thank you, House Chair, to the Minister, the Deputy Ministers, and the Chair of the Portfolio Committee. It is ironic that in 3 days' time, it marks the 8th anniversary of the shooting of Sindiso Makata, who passed away 4th of September 2017 for whistleblowing on corruption at the local municipality level. It is ironic that you had a commission to deal with political killings in KZN that was terminated the 31st of December. And last week, we had whistleblowing from a police commissioner of KZN on the issue of corruption. The biggest problem we have in this country is deployment of incompetent people by our political parties and corruption. If we keep pouring money and we do not deal with those two issues, we will never turn around local government. So I plead with you, Minister, to ensure that we protect whistleblowers. We've heard about the killing in Ekurhuleni of the accountant, of the auditor. And as long as this can continue, local government will not work. We need to ensure that there's a rearrangement where elected officials should govern the boards, not meddle with operational matters. The issues of tenders and procurement must be left to competent management, appointed on the basis of the skills they have. Let us ensure that we do not undermine young people in this country and the competence they bring. We do not undermine women with the skills that they bring forward, as evidenced by the turnaround of Tshwane under a young black female, Nasipi Moya. So I plead with you, members, that let's put the people of South Africa first. I stand here, Minister, as a victim of femicide. And traditions contribute to the behavior that turns men into monsters. And I hope in your agenda, in terms of traditional affairs, we will speak about traditions that oppress women. We have a Chapter 9 institution called the Commission for Gender Equality. And a question should be asked. In this constitutional democracy, I am from a royal family, but the traditional leaders should be asked, how are they incorporating the values of this country of gender equality in pursuing their traditions? If we can't do that, South Africa will remain the killing field for women and girl children. So I plead with you, Minister. I plead with you, deputies. I plead with you, Chair of the committee, that this matter must be placed on the agenda. We must govern in accordance with the lived realities of South Africa. And I leave you with this. I stay in Acacia. If you go towards the bottom of the field, there's been leaking sewage in the village where parliamentarians sit, in the city of Cape Town. So I don't know whether it's under local government or whether it's under public works, but both are in shambles. We support this budget so that we can fix this country.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker will be the Honourable Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson. A very good afternoon to Honorable Minister Velingosini Tlhabisa and my colleague, Deputy Minister Ngamase, and honorable members of the House. It is an honor to address this House as we reflect on the progress made and outline plans to ensure that every municipality works. We're meeting in July, which we observe across the country as Mandela Month, a month in which the whole world commemorates the 18th of July as Mandela Day, which calls on individuals to declare 67 minutes of their time to service, embodying Nelson Mandela's legacy of fighting for social justice and equality. This calls the family of humanity to action to make a positive impact on the world, inspired by the former President Nelson Mandela's 67 years of service to his people. Today, Honorable Chairperson, through this budget vote, we would like to encourage all of us to participate in strengthening and rebuilding local government to promote development and bring positive changes within our communities. In this regard, actively participate in focusing on matters of reforms and as well as white paper policy review to sharpen the instruments of the system for better performance and realization of the mandate enjoined to them by the country's constitution. Continue to strengthen municipalities for better functionality and position them to contribute towards realization of the said national objectives well articulated in the National Development Plan, the macroeconomic strategy of our country. Seated in this House as honorable members, we are privileged to be members of the seat of our democracy, Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. And therefore, as we converse amongst ourselves this afternoon on matters of COGTA, we are expected indeed to pass this budget in the interest of our people as responsible political leaders who are here representing the downtrodden masses of our people who are found in all 9 provinces of our country. We've got to do so because the disbursements that will follow after this budget gets approved are meant to empower and enable municipalities to perform and discharge their responsibilities as enjoined by the country's constitution to deliver services across the length and breadth of our country. We remain committed, Honorable Chairperson, to our collective efforts to capacitate municipalities, ensure provision of services, and in the main, give our people clean, portable, and sustainable water provision, electricity, better roads, health services, safe social spaces, and of course, spaces for quality learning and teaching. Notwithstanding the socio-economic difficulties we are faced with, we are steadfast in sharpening the levers of the system for improved performance given progress recorded thus far. Centers of excellence across the country within our own system are examples of progress and success we are basically recording and making in repositioning our local government system for better performance. And the evidence in this regard, Honorable Chairperson, account for progress we are making in repositioning the local government system. His Excellency, the founding father of our democratic state, Rolihlahla Nelson Mandela, on the 22nd of November 1996, in his address to a national summit of organized local government in the country, said, open quotes, "You have the task of doing whatever is necessary to ensure that our new local government system serves the needs of our communities. You have the responsibility to make their voice heard and to provide any effective instruments for them to improve their lives," close quote. This is said, Honorable Chairperson, because local government is a foundation and a space where communities could directly participate in governance and address local needs working together with their councillors, where we can foster a spirit of freedom, deepening of local democracy, and in fact, at the center of our work places the supremacy of our people as the prime drivers of socio-economic transformation, and of course ourselves as agents of social transformation. We are bestowed with this responsibility by history and the current moment to advance this cause without any failure. This belief, Chairperson, stem from the understanding that a strong local government could empower communities to be part of their government in determining the course of events and directing the pace of development. Metropolitanization, informed by range and threshold of metros and
Thank you,
secondary
Honourable
cities.
Minister. Deputy Minister, your time has expired.
We're asking for this budget to be supported. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker will be from the ACDP, Honorable Swart.
Thank you, House Chair. House Chair, the ACDP also again expresses its deepest condolences to the families of the 107 people who lost their lives during the recent floods in the Eastern Cape. Underfunding of disaster management and responses to disaster management is costing lives. What is incredibly sad is in the past, the South African Air Force in 1996 responded to the Mozambique floods with 5 Oryx helicopters and a similar number of fixed-wing aircraft, rescuing a total of 14,391 people from roofs and trees. Is it not scandalous that in the recent Eastern Cape floods, a lone Oryx helicopter could only be deployed, and that a week later? The underfunding of the South African Air Force is costing lives. This was a response far too late and far too little. Now, as we consider the municipal finances, we are all aware, and many speakers have referred to the Auditor General's recent report, sounding the alarm, crises at local government. But again, from the ACDP's perspective, there's nothing new here. The ACDP has consistently called for urgent interventions, yet her pleas have largely fallen on deaf ears. And despite the detailed work that she does, that National Treasury has done, that the department has done, it seems that very little is being done and has been done to improve the situation, with now the AG going as far as to issue material irregularities notices in terms of the Public Audit Act. And this we support because urgent steps need to be taken and accounting officers need to be held accountable. We also understand that other material irregularities issued to municipalities have been referred to law enforcement agencies for criminal investigation. And many have referred to the issue of corruption and the need to protect whistleblowers, and this the ACDP also supports. The other side of the coin is, of course, the funding, the equitable funding for local government, Minister, and this obviously does need to be addressed. But again, from the side of households and businesses that are hard-pressed, they're not paying municipal accounts either. The debt is now staggering 416 billion rand owed to municipalities. So there's another issue of collecting the outstanding debt. Minister, what is required is stewardship of state resources and servant leadership with new interventions so that we can turn around our municipalities where it is at the crux of service delivery. That is what is required. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Is the speaker from the UDM here? Nope. We will then move on to Rise, Honourable Zibi. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair, Honorable Minister, Honorable Deputy Ministers, and Honorable Members. In our constitutional scheme, municipalities are meant to give South Africans the power to choose representatives that care about issues that affect their daily lives in their local area. While this is a noble idea, the reality is that the bad state of most municipalities turns them into an instrument of abuse of human rights. On top of the national taxes South Africans pay, they are also crippled by municipal taxes, while getting a very poor return in terms of the quality of the service delivery they get. The honorable members know the problems very well. Dysfunctional, factionalized councils that often fight about civil service appointments for the purposes of looting. Even when they mean well, they will appoint people that are no match for the task they are paid to do. They will then hire consultants who are badly briefed, poorly supervised, and overpaid to do the work of the same people residents already pay a monthly salary to. This is why, Honorable Minister, programs 1 and 2 of this budget vote are so important. They speak to fixing the basics, getting the right systems in place, and professionalizing. In this regard, Minister, I hope you will have a strong supervisory structure for the work COCTA MECs do. They often take a hands-off approach and let things fall apart before intervening. We need a more aggressive approach during the seventh administration. Secondly, Honorable Minister, and ndizawuthetha nawe mntwana enkosi ngesiXhosa ngoba ndizawuthetha ngento yasemakhaya. Kukho laa ngxaki phaya yokuba xa kusabiwa amanxiwa, inkosi okanye usibonda abe nje amanxiwa wonke umuntu afumane inxiwa alifunayo. Inengxaki ke laa nto njengoba uzawuyazi ngenxeni yento kokubana xa kusabiwa kwabiwa nasemadlelweni. As a result, phaya kulaa ndawo ndisuka kuyo eOR Tambo ndandixelwa ngumntu wesebe lezolimo into kokubana inani leenkomo selehle ngo-50% in the last 10 years ngoba kwakhiwa amanxiwa emadlelweni. Okwesibini, kukhona ingxaki yento yobana xa kufuneka ke ngoku kufakwe amanzi, amanxiwa axananazile, abantu abazokwazi ufumana oophayiphi kakuhle ngale ndlela abayifunayo. Iphinde le nto ichaphazele ubomi babantu xa kubizwe iambulance, umzekelo ebusuku kumnyama, lo mntu ubize iambulance akana-airtime. Andithi mos izindlu azimiswanga kakuhle, akunamagama esitrato, akunazo ERF numbers njalo njalo. Ilahleke iambulance umuntu ade asweleke. So ndicela ke mntwana enkosi, phakathi kwenu nelisebe noomasipala kunye nabantwana benkosi neenkosi zethu nithethane yenziwe kakuhle le nto okanye abantu bazawufa. Ndiyabulela, siyayixhasa le budget.
Thank you, Honorable Zibi. The next speaker will be from Bosa, Honorable Maimane. Thank you.
Bagaetsho dumelang. Minister Hlabisa, how do you know that you've been brought to local government for such a time as this? Because I think in truth, honorable members, there can be no more important sphere of government than local government. In all reality, all of us live in an address. None of us live nationally. And therefore, Minister Hlabisa, I think we need to think about one city that is emblematic of all that is going on in our country. And I want to take the city of Johannesburg. Minister Hlabisa, the president went to Johannesburg. The Premier of Gauteng attended to Johannesburg. The political parties, many of them who are here, are playing revolving door with the mayoral chain in Johannesburg. The harsh reality is that 90 billion rands of South Africa's money is actually being misspent in the city of Johannesburg, meaning that, in all fairness, if you put the budget of Joburg and ask what are the people of Joburg experiencing, many of them are still without water as we speak. Electricity is in short supply in Johannesburg. They now call it famously their load reduction. So it speaks to a twofold problem. One, your ministry intervenes, and two, we need to make sure that the mayor that is there is delivering and doing a job. Now, Honorable Minister, I have a few reforms that I believe you need to take, and that's why I started with a place that says, you've been sent there for such a time as this. We need to review the 90-10 formula. It does not work in the white paper. Let's rather go for 85-15, because SALGA itself will tell you straight that consumers cannot pay for their electricity bills. So how do you ask a municipality then to keep itself fiscally afloat? Secondly, I think we need better political management. This idea that Johannesburg can have 8 mayors in a period of time with new administration is a genuine crisis, and you see it replicated in many metros in our country and municipalities. Thirdly, we need to deal with municipal debt. The harsh reality of it is that many of them have now entered into DAA arrangements with ESCOM, meaning that they can't actually fulfill their obligations. If you speak to the mayor, he will tell you he can't collect money because many big electricity consumers have taken themselves off the grid. So asking people to pay who can't pay and businesses that are not using electricity is asking for miracles. Fourthly, I think we need to deal with corruption. The Auditor General reports 50 billion rands of wasteful expenditure every year. Minister Hlabisa, let's go to SAICA, appoint chartered accountants and deploy them to municipalities. So therefore, in this regard, We will support this budget because we believe we need to bring about change in local government. Ke a leboha. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The next speaker will be from the ATM, Honorable Zangula.
Enkosi Mhlali ngaphambili. Minister, ICOGTA mostly focuses on municipalities and traditional leadership, but it neglects the religious and spiritual institutions that are part of the department. This neglect is not accidental, it is systematic. It extends to the exclusion of abalaphi bendabuko, amagqirha, izinyanga, and all traditional healers who have played a central role in the spiritual and physical well-being of our people. These practitioners carry ancestral wisdom, preserve indigenous knowledge systems, and offer healing that aligns to the identity and lived experiences of African people. By sidelining them, the government is complicit in the erosion of indigenous African spirituality and the social cohesion it upholds. Even when the government engages with the sector, it is always mainline churches. African indigenous churches are sidelined. It's very rare, Minister, to find a government program where Abapostile, Ama Nazareta, Ama Sosha, Ama Zayoni play a meaningful role. These churches take young people off the streets and make them to be engaged in cultural and educational programs. They ensure there is harmony and well-being in the communities, and the government must support them. Land must be availed to such churches to build their places of worship. We can't have our churches founded in spirituality being sidelined in their own country by their own government. Minister, religion and spirituality is not the same. Spirituality is knowing. Religion is a matter of faith and belief that regulates how one relates with God. Therefore, the classification must be differentiated to comfort people that they are understood by their own government. Lastly, Minister, we can't be silent about the injustice that is facing Amahlubi. I do not need to remind you, Minister, that the first political prisoner in Robben Island was Ngonyama Langalbalele I, who resisted land theft and colonization. It is his resistance and the resistance of Amahlubi that led to the fight against colonization and oppression, which ultimately gave us the freedom we enjoy today. It is an injustice that Amahlubi is not recognized by the democratic government, yabantu abamnyama, and even with the court proceedings where Amahlubi are fighting for the restoration of their kingship. It is only Sizwe Samahlubi that is fighting, and the government is nowhere to be seen. Mpembeli thina Mahlubi asingeke sayeka futhi asingethathi ikhefu kude kubuyekezwe ubungwenyama abachithwa ngamakolonali nombuso womkhethe. Masiqine mangelengele singathezwa amandla silwele isizwe sekhethu. We reject le budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Is the speaker from Al Jamar in the House? No. We will now call the Honorable Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Thank you, Honorable Member.
House Chair, honorable members, honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, Portfolio Committee, let me join the Minister in calling upon this House to support Vote 3 and 15 of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. It is indeed my humble privilege to contribute to the tabling of these votes. As a preface, let me express our pain and agony on the disastrous fatal catastrophe that claimed more than 100 lives in the Eastern Cape province, as well as other provinces that suffered calamities resulting from the inclement weather conditions. We convey our heartfelt condolences to the families of the affected victims. As a ministry, we continue to hold hands with the affected communities and other role players to address the aftermath of this disaster. House Chair, we are committed to ensuring that the institution of royalty is fully involved in the statutory processes of governance as envisaged in Section 39 of TICLA. And we expect this parliament to ensure that laws that have a bearing on the lives and livelihoods of communities observing a system of customary and indigenous law, irrespective of geographic location, are referred to the National House of Traditional and Khoisan Leaders for comment and input. In this regard, to acknowledge at least not less than 18 draft policies and draft legislations have been referred to the House. Call upon our traditional and Khoisan leaders to fully participate in the amendment of Traditional and Khoisan Leadership Bill so that together we can shape the meaningful role and functions of our esteemed royalty, especially in relation to Section 81 of the Municipal Structures Act. We also want to commend all the different Khoi and San royal houses who submitted their applications for recognition in line with Section 56 of Traditional and Khoisan Leadership Act. We want to assure our Khoi and San communities that the minister is keenly looking forward to pronounce on the first historical and official recognition of our Khoi and San leaders and communities, so that as government we can talk to the real, authentic and legitimate leaders of our Khoi and San communities. House Chair, we remain committed to provide support to our institution of royalty in a coherent and systematic manner, so as to achieve parity amongst leaders of the same status and level. The endorsement of the handbook by the MINMEC is a major significant step in standardizing the tools of trade for our traditional and Khoisan leaders. We want to commend the Minister of Finance, Madiba. For the first time in 30 years, we have now a budget allocation for all our royal palaces in the Republic, whose specificity shall be pronounced in line with the provisions of Section 30, subsection 2D. Indeed, we are a government at work to serve our esteemed royalty to restore the dignity. House Chair, fatalities, injuries, and casualties, which are avoidable, continue to raise the ugly head that undermines our collective effort to deliver an incident-free initiation season. We regret to record 19 deaths so far, and we shall continue to do everything to hold everyone responsible, accountable, especially parents, traditional caregivers, including traditional institutions. Sadly, those who have contributed include reckless parents and mischievous traditional leaders who are selling permits to parents, thereby circumcising young children. We can't refer to them as initiates. We will leave no stone unturned so as to comfort the grieving hearts of the mothers of these young initiates. The proliferation of disputes in the institution of traditional leadership is a cause for concern, and we want to urge our royal families to be firm in playing their role, as more often the rightful heir is known, except for shenanigan, charlatan chance takers who exploit the system. Thus, we believe this must come to a stop. In this regard, Honorable Chair, once again, we want to appreciate and support this budget votes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Is the speaker from the NCC here? A speaker from the PAC? Speaker from the UAT? Speaker from Good? I now call on the DA, Honorable Van Zyl.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Today we debate Cocta's budget, the blueprint for fixing our broken local governments. Honourable Mthethwa, let us focus here in 2025, not 1885. With an unemployment queue of 8.2 million South Africans, our economy cannot grow unless we get our local governments working. Local government is where residents and businesses meet service delivery. Without it, economic activity fails. South Africans across our beautiful country are losing hope. Water leaks run unattended, sewage on streets are health hazards, refuse is not collected on time, if at all, roads have been left unmaintained for years. Where the DA governs, municipalities are enablers of development. In Midvaal, There have been successful clean audits, a stable administration, and policies to make it one of the best performing municipalities in the country. In Cape Town, there are ongoing capital infrastructure investments to address the ever-growing population. People choose the Western Cape because they know quality services follow. Just as residents in Tshwane and Metsimaholo chose the DA in 3 wards yesterday in the by-elections. Honorable Letlape, Action SA is very good at running Twitter bots, but terrible at running Tshwane, which is why they are too scared to face the voters in any by-elections. They know the voters will clobber them for their coalition of corruption, where they are now trying to target one of the most independent city managers in the country. According to the latest Auditor General report in the Western Cape, more than 80% of municipalities received clean audits. This is proof that fiscal discipline and good governance indeed create the best foundation for private investment, economic growth, and ultimately much needed job creation. This is not theory, it is the lived experience for the residents who enjoy basic services, running water, functioning roads, and stable electricity. Honorable Mkalipi, under the EFF Finance Maker member, the city has already forfeited 308 million rand in grant funding because they cannot spend. In addition to showing South Africans the alternative, we must also speak truth to power. In most municipalities, especially those governed by the ANC, local governments are broken to the core. Sadly, it is the poorest and most vulnerable that suffer. Imagine a family having to travel kilometers for dirty water from a river as they do not have tap in their yard or that tap is dry. A pensioner who cannot afford the ever-growing electricity tariffs or the 400% increase on rates hike, or a young person trying to establish a business where there is no stable electricity. These are not isolated cases. They are unfortunate reality of most of the residents of South Africa because of a failing governance. The 2024-25 COCTA budget under Vote 3 is allocated 410 billion rand over the medium term. Nearly 96% of this budget is directed to intergovernmental transfers and entities. This budget allocation is supposed to ensure basic services, including for indigent residents. But in municipalities with maladministration, resources do not reach these residents or beneficiaries. These vital resources instead line the pockets of politically elected. This budget, if implemented well, has the potential to unlock local economies across the country and sustainable job creation. We cannot allow our budgets to be further feeding troughs with nearly 18 billion rand lost to fruitless and wasteful expenditure over the last 5 years. The department must ensure that every cent is used wisely for service delivery and job creation, or it too will be complicit in maladministration, which the DA will hold to account. To unlock economic growth in all the corners of South Africa, we also need stability in local governments. Now, Honourable Maimani, this is why the DA has introduced the Municipal Threshold and Coalition Stabilisation Bills. This is to ensure that there is political stability and coherence. We have done so because we believe that every community deserves a stable government that is able to govern well. House Chair, the DA also believes in a committed, capable state. We therefore also need to be honest about failing interventions. The district development model is one such intervention. Over 100 million rand has been spent in 3 pilot sites since 2019 in eThekwini, the OR District, Tambo District Municipality, and the Waterberg District Municipality. All 3 have been resounding failures. eThekwini has quadrupled its municipal debt between 2019 and 2024 from approximately 5 billion to 20 billion rand. Waterberg no longer has a clean audit record, going from clean to unqualified with findings, and is unable to meet its financial obligations. The OR Tambo District Municipality was placed under provincial administration in 2021. Honourable Mkhize, the implementation of the DDM, even at a small-scale level, has failed. Let us not spend any more of the people's money on interventions that are failing. Disaster management remains another concern. With the recent natural disasters we saw in June, provinces most affected was KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape. Although an early warning of heavy rain and snowfall was issued by the South African Weather Service, governments were reactive rather than proactive in their responses. Municipalities cannot allow for settlements to be built near flood lines or for stormwater drains to be clogged. As we approached fire season, many municipalities do not have enough fire trucks. Most are broken. As the Democratic Alliance, we extend our deepest condolences to the families that have lost loved ones. Minister, in disaster management and its response, we need to do more. We need to see more consequences for administrations that corrupts the service by their own selfish greed. Minister, none of these reforms are impossible. As the Democratic Alliance, we know this because we are doing it. Where the DA governs, unemployment is lower, service delivery is better, and residents have more hope. This is not a slogan. This is the lived reality for millions living under a DA government. We must do more. We need to build municipalities that are not just administratively sound, but also economically active. This can be achieved in many ways, but most urgent is cutting red tape to attract investors, which will lead to a strong revenue base in each and every ward in South Africa. And it means growing our economy and creating jobs. South Africans are not asking for perfection from their local government. They're asking for a municipality that works in every home. This means water in their taps, for their lights to stay on, for decent roads to drive on, and for leaders that care. They're asking for fairness and for a government that supports them to live with dignity. As COCTA committee, we need to adopt a stronger oversight function that rewards excellence, that continues to call for accountability and consequence management. We need to ensure that this department makes growth and jobs the non-negotiable objective of every rand and cent spent. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker will be from the ANC, Honourable Dereko. Thank you.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister, Honorable Deputy Ministers, the members of the House. This year marks 70 years since the adoption of the Freedom Charter in 1955 by the people of South Africa who committed their life towards a better future for all. The drafters of the Freedom Charter did not only draft a paper, but they drafted together a vision that defines and characterizes our government commitment and plans for the past 30 years. As we reflect on the successes of the Charter, we ought to reflect mostly on the clause that sought to place our people at the center of governance. The Freedom Charter decrees that, I quote, "the people shall govern," close quote. As we participate in this budget vote debate, we ought not to lose sight of the broader vision of the people of South Africa. Certainly, in this way, we cannot also lose sight on focusing on local government where our people are. As the ANC, we endorse this budget because we aim to ensure that our ordinary citizens in rural areas have access to tap water and sanitation facilities. I must also emphasize that we have been supporting the department budget for the past consecutive years, hoping it will benefit our people rather than being misappropriated by those who are selfish and who do not have conscience enough to care for our interests of our people. And as a result of this one, we believe that this budget that we are going to adopt currently is going to change the people of our life, and those who are responsible for stealing the money that are supposed to assist in service delivery will then be taken to the book. And we must also indicate that for this budget to be utilized effectively, we need proper good governance from our employees in different spheres of government. Ho hlakile hore mmuso wa lehae wa kopanelo wa lehae o tobane le mathata a mangata-ngata a etsang hore bo masepala ba rona ba seke ba kgona ho fana ka ditshebeletso tse leng hore ba tlamehile ho fana ka tsona setjhabeng. Ho tloha dikgethong tse fetileng, dikgethong tsa bo masepala ka selemo sa 2016, bo masepala ba bangata ba ile ba kena ka hara mmuso wa kopanelo. Empa bothata bo boholo ke hore bo masepala ba bangata ha ba se kgone ho sebedisana mmoho ka hara mmuso o wa kopanelo. Ke ka hoo o bonang di bo masepaleng ba bangata ho na le boetapele ba politiki ba ileng hore ba ntse ba fetola nako le nako. Mme ka hoo ho etsa hore masepala o ska ba le tsamaiso e nepahetseng ya ditshebeletso, mme setjhaba sa rona se qeteletse sa fumane ditshebeletso tseo ba di hlokang. Maikemisetso a rona ke ho kgutlisetsa seriti sa batho ba rona e leng setjhaba sa rona ka hore re bone hore ba fumantshwa ditshebeletso tseo ba di hlokang. Mme hona ho ka etsahala fela ha re na le bo masepala ba ikemiseditseng ho fana ka puso e ntle setjhabeng. We need a law that will help us to avoid chaotic mayoral succession in future, and it is also quite unsettling that the city of Tshwane and the city of Johannesburg had more than 3 mayors in this particular term that we are currently having. In the previous administration in 2023, the Deputy President of the country then and now, Honorable Paul Mashatile, held a local government dialogue at the University of Western Cape. Academics, civil society, political parties, and many interested people attended this and participated in this dialogue. The dialogue was an initiative supported by the ANC because we were concerned by the state of local government. The Deputy President in this dialogue, he then made a remark on the following challenges that result to the challenges of local municipality, which one of them was that opportunistic political action supported by institutional flaws, power struggle, patronage, and political instability due to inconsistency of the change of the political leadership in our municipalities. In addressing the challenges highlighted by the Deputy President, we as the ANC have urged the department to implement a legislative to safeguard and also to resolve the challenges that are faced by municipality, local government. The municipal coalition will soon be established to effective management of coalition politics within municipalities. We believe that political stability is essential to ensure that we have effective service delivery in our municipalities. Nevertheless, as I have stated before, political stability involves more than just a mere political tolerance. It requires that politicians demonstrate commitment to serve the public. Our perspective is that during the discussion of the budget vote, municipal government should be the principal influence on how these funds are allocated. Certainly, the white paper on local government represents an important milestone that we need to fully embrace in our effort to address governance challenges in local government. We should utilize expertise offered by different and various sector education and training authorities such as known as CETA to strengthen local government capacities. Additionally, we must form part with diverse stakeholders, including enhancing training programs with universities focused on leadership, ethical leadership, and the determination to lead. It should also be unacceptable that despite having 26 universities and 50 TVET colleges in our country, we are still promoting the notion that there is a lack of skills necessary to address the challenges within our local government. Honorable Speaker, we recognize that good governance is not an abstract process, but an inclusive process. Traditional leaders play a significant role in our society, not only as the custodian of our culture, but as the leaders of society. As the ANC, we fully acknowledge the traditional leaders as community representatives and their ability to provide advices on issues affecting traditional areas as their advisory capacity on our municipal council. We therefore of the view that the role played by traditional leaders must be central in local government. We need to make use of their participation framework to engage in discussion and address the governance issues faced by municipalities. We support the department initiative to create strategy that outlines the advantages of traditional leaders, and we are confident that this plan will help them to feel included in government and integrated into the state mechanism, ultimately enhancing the conditions of local government. We encourage the department to implement actionable measures that will enhance local government internal capacities. The ANC maintains that the foundation and motivation for state programs should be the aim of establishing a developmental state that is ethical and capable. Consequently, we also advocate for professionalism of public service in our municipalities, which will also enhance the training provided for local government management via the National School of Governance. Furthermore, we maintain that a strong developmental state is the one that has robust internal capacities. As a result, we should strive to phase out reliance on consultants who have been unreasonably draining municipal funds without delivering satisfactory outcome. The recent discoveries of the AG have highlighted that municipalities have engaged into high level of consultant, which costs municipality a lot of money. And as a result of that, it flags the possibility of corruption. It is time to transition towards insourcing water tankers and honeysuckers. By doing this, we can eliminate political interference and the role of greedy entrepreneurs who focus on profits rather than serving our communities. Ultimately, we believe that the real effectiveness of the budget will be assessed by how it improves the lives of our citizens through local government. While we are concerned about where the budget allocation are directed, our primary focus is to ensure that the public trust in local government is strengthened. We aim to shift local government from the party politics to prioritizing programs that are uplifting our communities. To protect local government from political party politics, we need to depoliticize constitutional intervention by providing provincial government and ensuring that the provincial government is issuing correct intervention in our municipalities. What has been reported in National Municipality in the Western Cape is a cause for concern that needs to be condemned by all who uphold the principle of good governance. The Constitution, in our Constitution, in section 154, subsection 1, allows intervention as a measure to strengthen the municipality to manage their own affairs, not for political scoring and disruption of the opposition party by provincial government. We have noted also that in Western Cape, there's a growing attitude to ignore service delivery issues in wards that are not governed by the Western Cape majority party. Of 10, people are left unattended because they voted for a different party. This must also be challenged and addressed with an agency that it deserves. Honorable Mokalipi, your suggestion on how municipality can improve their current situation are very helpful. However, it is contradictory that you discuss funding related issues while you are rejecting the budget that you are working on today. While the budget is being rejected, how will the municipality be able to fill the
Honorable
positions?
Member, your time has expired. Thank you. The final speaker for this debate will be the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Welcome, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, on behalf of the ministry, I want to say, firstly, we noted all the contributions that you made. They will receive our attention as we value them importantly. I do want to confirm, colleagues, as many speakers referred to the issue of unstable municipalities, of one mayor following the other in a very short space of time. The coalition's bill will resolve this matter to regulate the intervals for the votes of no confidence. The concern raised by all political parties and members in this House, including the MKP and the EFF, around the issues of the functionality of municipalities. That is why we value your contribution in the white paper review of the local government, because we really want to fix the local government space. The MKP dwelled much on the issue of traditional and Khoisan leaders. The only appeal that one could make, this budget wants to address those issues, and the non-support of the budget, which address the issues of concern, it becomes contradictory. All the appeal we will make, honorable members, if we really believe in what we are saying, it depends on this budget to be executed. I'm sure colleagues, you will agree with me that in terms of response to disaster, we are doing better, but we are still going to do far more better. But any intervention on disaster effects, honorable members from the EFF, any response will depend on this budget. Now, if we object to the budget, yet we expect the intervention, really, it does not talk to what we desire to achieve. I do want to
Honorable members,
colleagues.
could I ask you to please respect the speaker? We cannot hear him
I
from
want
here.
to
Thank you.
agree on the issue of the protection of our ethical employees. Crime in our country is a national disaster. We all need to speak with one voice. That crime must be declared a national disaster. It affects our employees, but it even affects the ordinary members of our community, as we last saw, affecting an honorable member of this house. Crime should be tackled in a different approach, a radical manner, and deal severely with everyone. There are people who are committing crime not driven by poverty. We shouldn't generalize if we really want to deal with this matter. I want, therefore, Honorable Chair, on behalf of the ministry, through the 2 votes presented today, we want to renew our commitments to cooperative governance and heritage stewardship. In a time of disaster recovery, fiscal restraint, and political complexity, we must uphold the values of accountability, service, and inclusion. We are appealing, therefore, that all members of this House must reconsider those who did not support the budget because it wants to achieve exactly what they want to achieve. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Members are reminded that 2 debates are scheduled simultaneously for 4:30 today. The electricity and energy budget vote debate will be held in the Good Chamber, while the basic education vote debate will take place in committee room M46. That concludes the debate and the business of this mini plenary session. The mini plenary will now rise.